What's going on, y'all? Today we're going to be going over the three main types of upper body presses, the things that you want to emphasize in your technique, and the mistakes that you want to avoid. This is especially important because not only is the upper body press an area of opportunity for a lot of people to work on, but unfortunately it also tends to be where a lot of people get hurt from poor technique. So we're going to be going over the bodyweight push-up, the one-arm kettlebell military press, and the powerlifting style bench press. And ideally this is going to make you own the movement and have upper body pressing truly be a strength. So let's get right on into it, and we will start with the push-up. Alright, so the bodyweight push-up. Very simple exercise, but unfortunately one that tends to get butchered a lot, both at home and in the gym. So it is kind of the prerequisite to all of the other weighted variations of your press. Just really being able to own the bodyweight version of your press is going to serve you very, very well. Megan, what are some of our tips to a healthy push-up?
Number one, I would say make sure that your setting is correct first and foremost. You want your hands about shoulder width apart, keep your elbows in nice and tight, come straight down, go straight back up. A lot of things that we see that are wrong with people's push-ups is their elbows get out to the side and then they just feel a little janky when they're doing their push-ups, so keep it nice and tight.
Yeah, exactly. So truly one of the themes that we're going to see here for the press is how full body rigidity is going to help keep the shoulders safe and help strengthen your press. So we're going to take a look at some push-ups from the floor. So we'll go ahead and knock out 2 or 3 here. Good. Now as you can see from Megan's setup and her reps, it's really just a moving plank. There's no wavy action through the back. She's keeping her whole body rigid and of course keeping those elbows in tight. Thanks, Megan. So oftentimes the hands and the elbows are spread way out and this kind of motion happens. Now again, we want to make sure that we keep integrity through the joints and of course integrity through full range of motion. Now, what we do not do is any push-ups from the knees, and there is no such thing as a girl push-up. Instead, if the floor is not appropriate for you for any reason, what we do is we manipulate leverage and actually we increase the height from which you put your hands, so into an elevated push-up. So the easiest way to do that is on a bench, so we'll just demonstrate a couple reps. The reps should look exactly the same, the only difference is where she's placing her hands. Good, and relax. And one of my personal favorite variations that you can do in a gym that has a Smith rack, this is probably one of the only reasons you would want to use the Smith rack, but it is for the purpose of actually wrapping your hands around a bar and doing your elevated push-up that way, so it almost translates a little bit more into like a bench press type feel. So we're going to pop on over to the Smith rack. Of course, the other benefit is you can adjust it to any height. Starting off higher as you need to and going lower as you progress. So we'll just hit a couple reps here, hands around. Good, just touching the chest every time. Keeping the head, shoulders, glutes, and legs all on one line. Cool, Megan, that's good. Alright, so that is the push-up. Now we're going to move on to the single arm military kettlebell press. Alright, so now moving on to the single arm press. Now, because you are using one arm at a time, this will of course make sure that you're not cheating or hiding any asymmetry that you might have between the shoulders by doing a full barbell military press right off the bat. So the kettlebell is a little bit tricky if you've never used the bells before, especially when it's in the racked position on the hand. It can take a little finagling to get used to and getting into a good position that it feels okay on the forearm and for the shoulder. So for our purposes today, we're just going to have Megan cheek clean the bell up to a rack position, and we'll take it from there. So just get the bell into a folded rack position any way that feels best. And just a couple of things to take note. One is we'll drop our hand down just a little bit. Good. So that the elbow is pointing straight down. The bell is resting in the cradle between the forearm and upper arm and shoulder. The handle is actually deep into the palm of the hand, so there's none of that happening. That's very, very common that we see in kettlebell training, and that is very dangerous, and it's also going to keep you weak because you won't be able to hardly press anything. So knuckles to the sky. What she's going to do is just square up her stance a little bit, take a deep breath, remain rigid through the legs, glutes, and abs. Keep an eye on the bell and press straight up. And down slow. We'll do one more rep. Very good. So, nothing fancy. You just want to make sure that you're rooting through the ground, toes are digging in, legs are tight, glutes are tight, abs are tight, and in general, keeping an eye on the bell so it doesn't get away from you in any capacity. Certainly with this weight being on the outside of the forearm, it can pull you in some weird directions if you're not tight. And then of course, we're always keeping the shoulder pulled and packed down to activate the lats, which is going to be very important when we talk about our next press variation, the traditional bench press. All right, so for our last pressing variation, we're going to go over the bench press. Now, in addition to being 1/3 of the traditional powerlifting competition, the bench press is also a great way to teach the mechanics of the horizontal press. So that's just your arms going out perpendicular to your body. So a couple of quick things that we're going to mention. Simply number one is to try to make this into as much of a full body lift as possible, which is a little bit easier said than done, but when you're lying back on the bench, you want to maintain tightness through the legs, rooted through the feet, tight glutes, and tight abs. We're also going to talk about maintaining tightness through the upper back by creating an arch with the back that's also going to help set the shoulders into a stable position when you're actually lifting weight. So we're just going to have Megan demonstrate a couple of reps. Always what I recommend is just using the bar when you warm up, no matter how new or experienced you are at this lift. And as always, whenever you need it, grab a spotter. So she's going to grab a hold of the bar just outside of shoulder width. And she's going to row the weight straight down, touching the sternum with the bar, and then driving straight up with a good exhalation. Good. Try two more. So neck is staying relaxed, face is staying relaxed, all of the tension here through the arms. And good. So the bench press has often some of the same types of mistakes that people do in the push-up, simply being too wide with the elbows, or for any given reason, just not having a good shoulder position, maybe instability through the back or what have you. But again, when we arch, get that chest up and pull the shoulder blades back, that's what's going to help support the weight of the bar. And again, with good breathing in at the top, exhalation as you press, and keeping your eyes on a certain spot on the ceiling at all times. The bench press is something that anybody can get good and strong at as long as you're maintaining integrity through the shoulders. All right, so those are some of the tips, tricks, techniques that you always want to be emphasizing in all of your upper body presses. Really the overarching theme is the more tension and tightness and rigidity that you can maintain through the rest of your body, the better your arms and shoulders are going to be in a pressing context. So Megan, anything to finish up with?
Ladies, don't be afraid to try it. Just go start slow, low, work your way up into these exercises. By doing these exercises, I've I've actually been able to do a one-arm push-up here and there, as well as set state records in the powerlifting meet that I did, my very first one, in the bench press and deadlift, I think.
Deadlift, yeah.
So just go for it. Don't be scared. If you need a spotter, get one, but get it done.
Yeah. So the ways of strength don't have to be complicated, but they do require attention to detail, patience, and consistency. All right, so with that being said, thanks for checking out Stronger Than You Look, and we'll see you next time.